The growing conflict between Israel and Iran is rapidly escalating, with June 2025 marking a pivotal moment in this ongoing confrontation. On June 13, 2025, Israel launched a large-scale attack, codenamed Operation Rising Lion, targeting Iran's critical nuclear facilities, military installations, and high-ranking officials' residences. This action came after months of rising tensions, with both nations exchanging increasingly aggressive strikes. In retaliation, Iran launched missiles at Israel on June 14, 2025, killing civilians and triggering a series of military responses from Israel. By June 15, 2025, Israel had expanded its air campaign, hitting nuclear sites in Tehran while Iran retaliated with ballistic missile strikes. Tensions further escalated when Hezbollah's involvement became a concern, with attacks from the Lebanese group pushing Israel closer to a wider escalation. As of June 16, 2025, Israeli officials, including IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari, warned of the imminent risk of further regional destabilization. On June 17th, the situation worsened, with Iran launching hypersonic missiles and Israel striking Iranian missile sites. International responses varied, with the United States under President Donald Trump demanding Iran's unconditional surrender, while global powers like France and Germany urged for de-escalation. The conflict between Israel and Iran is deeply rooted in the 1979 Islamic Revolution in Iran, which severed relations between the two countries. Since then, tensions have flared through proxy wars, direct military confrontations, and cyber attacks. Iran's support for groups like Hamas and Hezbollah and Israel's responses have led to a series of escalating events. Notable moments include the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack in Israel and the April 2024 drone and missile strikes from Iran following Israel's airstrike in Syria. As the situation intensifies, the question arises: which countries would stand with Iran if the conflict escalates further? In this video, we will examine the top 10 countries likely to support Iran in the event of a full-scale war with Israel. From historical alliances to shared political interests, these countries have their reasons for standing by Iran. Like, subscribe, and watch till the end to learn more about these complex alliances and the factors driving them. Number 10. Turkey. Turkey has been a long-standing opponent of Israel's actions, especially concerning its treatment of Palestinians. Under President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Turkey has taken a more Islamist stance in foreign policy and often criticizes Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories and military actions in Gaza. Historically, Turkey and Israel maintain strong military and trade relations, but tensions have risen in recent years due to Turkey's growing support for Palestinian self-determination and its alliance with Qatar and Iran. In 2025, as the conflict between Israel and Iran escalates, Turkey is expected to support Iran, both diplomatically and possibly militarily, particularly as a regional power with the means to challenge Israel's dominance. Turkey sees Iran as a counterbalance to Israeli and U.S. influence in the Middle East. Turkey has also been critical of Israeli airstrikes in Syria and Lebanon, which target Iranian military assets. Emotionally, Turkey's support for Iran is also deeply tied to Islamic solidarity, as both nations view the conflict through the lens of Muslim unity against Israeli policies. Additionally, Turkey's geopolitical ambitions in the Middle East, along with its leadership in the Muslim world, ensure that it will be one of the countries to stand with Iran in case of further escalation. Number 9. Pakistan. Pakistan has historically supported Palestine and maintained a strong stance against Israel. It views Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories as illegal and has consistently advocated for Palestinian statehood at international forums. Given Pakistan's Muslim-majority population and its long-standing rivalry with India, Israel is seen as a Western-backed power that threatens the sovereignty of Muslim nations. In 2025, Pakistan's support for Iran is likely, especially as both countries share concerns about Israeli military power in the region. Pakistan's alliance with Iran has deepened over the years, with both countries opposing U.S. interventionism in the Middle East. Pakistan has also criticized Israel's nuclear weapons program, often condemning Israel's lack of transparency regarding its nuclear capability. Emotionally, Pakistan's support for Iran is rooted in Islamic solidarity and a shared vision of resisting Western imperialism. Pakistan's military relationship with Iran, particularly in counter-terrorism efforts and defense cooperation, positions Pakistan as one of the key players that would back Iran in a conflict with Israel. Pakistan's alignment with Iran, coupled with its strategic interests, makes it a significant actor in this escalating crisis. Number 8. Russia. Russia has long maintained a complex relationship with Israel, but its strategic alliance with Iran makes it likely to support Iran in a direct conflict with Israel. Russia's support for Iran is based on their mutual interests, especially regarding countering U.S. influence in the Middle East. Russia sees Iran as a key ally in the region, especially after both countries aligned over Syria, where they helped to prop up the Assad regime against Israeli-backed opposition forces. In 2025, Russia's support for Iran in a conflict with Israel would be part of its broader strategy to challenge Israeli and U.S. dominance in the Middle East. Russia has supplied Iran with advanced military technology, including missile defense systems and fighter jets, reinforcing its position as a close partner to Iran. Emotionally, Russia views Israel as a Western outpost in the region, an extension of U.S. influence. Therefore, Russia's support for Iran is not only driven by military interest, but also by a desire to limit U.S. power in the region. In a broader context, Russia's military support for Iran would be an extension of its anti-Western policies, ensuring that it remains a major player in Middle Eastern geopolitics. Number 7. North Korea. North Korea has long supported Iran due to their shared anti-Western stance and their common goals of resisting U.S. imperialism. North Korea's Kim Jong-un has repeatedly praised Iran's resistance against U.S. influence, and North Korea has provided Iran with military aid in the past, including missile technology and nuclear expertise. In 2025, as the conflict between Iran and Israel intensifies, North Korea is likely to support Iran both diplomatically and militarily, using its position as a nuclear-armed state to challenge Israel's growing influence in the region. North Korea's stance is also motivated by a desire to forge stronger ties with Iran and counterbalance Israel's strategic dominance in the Middle East. Emotionally, North Korea's support for Iran is rooted in a shared ideology of opposing U.S. global hegemony. Both nations have faced sanctions and isolation due to their respective nuclear programs, and both are seen as enemies of the West. North Korea's backing of Iran reflects its ongoing commitment to the Axis of Resistance, a bloc of nations challenging Western influence. In a full-scale war between Israel and Iran, North Korea would likely send military support to strengthen Iran's position. Number 6. Lebanon, specifically under the influence of Hezbollah, has consistently supported Iran in its opposition to Israel. Hezbollah, a Shiite militant group backed by Iran, has been a key ally of Iran in the region, both militarily and politically. Lebanon's geographic proximity to Israel, coupled with the presence of Hezbollah fighters in southern Lebanon, has led to a situation where Lebanon is effectively drawn into conflicts with Israel. In 2025, if the conflict between Israel and Iran escalates, Lebanon, through Hezbollah, will likely provide direct military support to Iran. Hezbollah has already engaged in several cross-border skirmishes with Israel, and its support for Iran in the broader Middle Eastern conflict is well established. Emotionally, Lebanon views Israel as an occupying force, and Hezbollah's goal is the elimination of Israeli influence in the region. Iran's support for Hezbollah has been instrumental in strengthening Lebanon's resistance movements, and Lebanon sees this as an opportunity to challenge Israel's military dominance in the region. Lebanon's official stance may vary, but Hezbollah's influence ensures that Lebanon will be a vocal supporter of Iran in the event of an all-out war with Israel. Number 5. Yemen. Yemen has aligned itself with Iran, especially through its support for the Houthi rebels who are backed by Tehran. The Houthis, an Iranian-supported militia, have fought against Saudi-led forces, which include Israel's allies in the region. Yemen has expressed strong anti-Israel sentiment due to its solidarity with Palestinian forces and its deep ties to Iran. In 2025, Yemen's support for Iran would likely be a given, as the Houthi rebels have already fought numerous battles against Saudi Arabia, Israel's regional partner. Yemen, being a proxy battleground for Iranian influence, would align with Iran's goals in the broader Middle East. Emotionally, Yemen's commitment to Iran stems from a shared ideological vision of resisting Western and Israeli dominance in the region. Yemen views Israel as a symbol of oppression in Palestine and has consistently supported Palestinian rights, positioning itself as an ally of Iran in the Islamic resistance movement. Yemen's active participation in a conflict would heavily depend on the Houthi militia's involvement, which is likely to take the lead in any military action against Israel. Number 4. Bangladesh. Bangladesh has been a vocal critic of Israel, particularly due to its support for Palestinian rights and its rejection of Israeli military actions in Gaza and the West Bank. Bangladesh's position on Israel has been heavily influenced by its Muslim-majority population, which stands in solidarity with the Palestinian cause. In 2025, Bangladesh's stance remains unchanged, full support for Iran against Israel, particularly due to shared opposition to U.S. and Israeli policies in the Middle East. Bangladesh has long been an advocate for Palestinian independence and has supported international initiatives calling for an end to Israeli occupation. Emotionally, Bangladesh's support for Iran is deeply tied to Islamic solidarity. Bangladesh views Israel as a colonial power that has oppressed Palestinians and sees Iran's resistance as crucial to Muslim unity in the region. Bangladesh's military, while not highly advanced, may still contribute in a symbolic or diplomatic capacity to support Iran, especially through regional alliances and voting blocs in international forums. Number 3, Venezuela. Under President Nicolas Maduro, has consistently aligned with Iran in the face of U.S. interventionism. Venezuela views Israel as a puppet of U.S. imperialism and has been a vocal critic of Israeli policies in Palestine. In 2025, Venezuela is expected to fully support Iran, primarily due to its shared anti-U.S. stance and support for Palestine. Venezuela has provided diplomatic and material support to Iran, particularly in its opposition to U.S. sanctions and military actions. Maduro's government has condemned Israel's actions in Gaza and consistently aligned itself with countries opposing Israeli and U.S. influence in the Middle East. Emotionally, Venezuela's support for Iran is deeply rooted in its anti-imperialist foreign policy. Both nations are viewed as victims of Western dominance, and Venezuela has been a staunch ally of Iran in its efforts to resist U.S. hegemony. In the event of escalating tensions, Venezuela's support for Iran's resistance against Israel would be a natural extension of its political ideology. Number 2, Palestine. Palestine has always been the primary supporter of Iran, particularly because of Iran's unwavering support for the Palestinian cause. Iran has long been Palestine's main ally, providing military, financial, and political backing in its resistance against Israel. In 2025, Palestinian authorities, including both Fatah and Hamas, are likely to continue aligning with Iran in any conflict with Israel. Iran's support for Palestinian militant groups such as Hamas and Islamic Jihad is one of the major reasons for this alliance. Iran's assistance has been pivotal in equipping and training Palestinian forces to resist Israeli military operations. Emotionally, Palestine's support for Iran is based on the shared vision of ending Israeli occupation and achieving Palestinian self-determination. Iran's military and financial support has been essential for Palestinian resistance against Israel's continued presence in East Jerusalem and the West Bank. Palestine views Iran's actions as a direct challenge to Israeli dominance in the region and will likely continue to back Iran if the conflict escalates further. Number 1, China. China has increasingly aligned itself with Iran in recent years, driven by strategic, economic, and geopolitical interests. As a rising global power, China views Iran as a key ally in its efforts to challenge U.S. influence in the Middle East and to secure its energy interests. The China-Iran relationship has been particularly significant in the energy sector, with China being one of Iran's largest trade partners, particularly in oil and natural gas. In 2025, as tensions between Israel and Iran escalate, China is likely to support Iran due to its growing interests in countering Western dominance in the region and its commitment to energy security. China's support for Iran is rooted in its Belt and Road Initiative, which seeks to expand China's economic influence across the Middle East. Iran's strategic location is crucial to the BRI, and China has been actively involved in helping develop Iran's infrastructure. Moreover, China opposes U.S. sanctions on Iran, having used its position in the UN Security Council to block measures that would harm Iran's economic interests. Emotionally, China's support for Iran is driven by its desire to assert dominance in a multipolar world. By aligning with Iran, China ensures that Iran remains a counterweight to U.S. and Israeli interests, cementing China's influence in the region. In the event of all-out war, China is expected to back Iran diplomatically and economically, ensuring the preservation of its interests in the region. As tensions between Israel and Iran reach new heights, these 10 countries stand with Iran for various historical, religious, and geopolitical reasons. Their support reflects their desire to challenge Israeli policies and uphold the Palestinian cause. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on this critical conflict.